Hello there, YouTube. Well, um, this is finally recording again. This is just going to be a shorter video than planned. I did originally go through all of the core units, but I'm not going to do that this video. That'll be an upcoming video. This is just going to be discussing the army book itself for a little while and the army special rules. This is the third time I've tried to record this, and I've had to spend the last half an hour fighting the laptop because this webcam has hidden settings. I don't mean it has a settings menu where you can go in and change that. It has that as well, but those don't do anything. If you go in and change the gamma, the brightness, the contrast, the hue, it doesn't really do anything. If, however, you move the laptop slightly, or put something in front of the camera for a few seconds, it will radically change the way it perceives colour. I've spent the last 15 minutes trying desperately to make it so that everything, and I do mean everything, was not really bright green. In fact, there's still a slight green hue in this room, according to this webcam. There's no green in this room. This wall is an off-white colour. This headboard, white. Yeah. This is as close as I could get to actual normal colour that wasn't really bright, really bright bloom in my face. So this is the best colour I could get on this thing. I'm going to run it through YouTube's colour correction thing when I'm finished. But this was a nightmare. Anyway, let's get on to the book. Warriors of Chaos. I like this book. This is a very, very nice book. It's different from Hordes of Chaos. Very different. Now, I never played in 7th edition. I played in 6th. I had a bit of a gap, and now I've started playing again in 8th. So I've gone straight from Hordes of Chaos, where demons, warriors, and beastmen were all the same army, into a point where they're now 3 separate armies. So I ended up with both warriors and beastmen, as I've said. Now, Warriors of Chaos is by far the better of the two, largely because Beastmen are still running off their 7th edition book. They haven't had an update to 8th edition, and they really need it. There's only a few ways in which you can make Beastmen work. There's one army that I do think is very, very good in Beastmen, which I'm not sure if it's going to stick around if they get a remake, a reprint. But it's shockingly effective, and a lot of people don't know about it. I'll discuss that later, in another video, in fact. But let's discuss the army special rules here. This is for the Warriors of Chaos. Army special rules. They only have 2 special rules, but they also have the marks and the gifts of the gods, which I'll discuss in a bit. The 2 army special rules are demonic attacks. Any model with demonic attacks, their normal attacks, their stomps, any ranged attacks they have, which is none because it's Warriors of Chaos, they're all demonic. So that means that they're magical. Magical attacks is useful. It means it can hit ethereal creatures. There are certain things though that have bonuses against magical attacks, so it can be a double-edged sword. Particularly, there's a banner that the High Elves have that gives them a massive ward save against magical attacks. This makes this a real double-edged sword when fighting the High Elves. High Elves are very capable against Warriors of Chaos, even more against demons. But still, the big special rule, though, is the Eye of the Gods. Now, I'll read this out in full. Models with the special rule are collectively known as Chaos Champions. They can never refuse a challenge, and if possible, must always issue one. This is something I have seen a lot of people playing Chaos forget. If you have any hero of any kind, they have the Eye of the Gods special rule. This includes unit champions. They have to declare a challenge. Every time they're in combat, they have to declare a challenge. They can never refuse a challenge. This is a big flaw for the Warriors of Chaos. And I've seen loads of battle reports of Warriors of Chaos where they've charged in and then they've just done combat, and I'm like, do you have no unit champion? I know you have at least one character in there. Um, this would include sorcerers. I'm fairly sure that the sorcerers have, yeah, they have Eye of the Gods. That means they must issue challenges. Um, do all the special characters have it? I know that Eye of the Gods is on all of the characters there. Okay, Demon Princes don't. That's interesting. Demon Princes do not have Eye of the Gods. But the special characters will be further on, won't they? Let's have a look here. Eye of the Gods, Chaos Ogres have it. There's certain things, obviously, that won't have it. Like the Museless Vortex Beast. Right, okay. Eye of the Gods. Archaon has it. Wulfric has it. Valkyria has it, but she has a variant of it. Village, the Curseling, has it, but I believe he also has a variant of it. Actually, he doesn't. He just has Eye of the Gods. Festus has it. Ziegfeld has it, but he does have a variant of it. Throg has it. Skylar doesn't. Galrock doesn't. And Kolek doesn't. So half of our special characters also have this rule. This is a very important thing to remember. It means that all of these special characters, they have to declare challenges. Have no choice. So yeah, if there are several Chaos champions involved in the combat, the controlling player chooses which will issue and accept the challenge, because only one challenge can take place in any one combat. This includes if there are multiple units in the same combat, so this is something to remember. In addition, if a Chaos champion kills an opponent in a challenge, or if he kills a monster, immediately make a 2d6 roll on the table opposite. Once the result of the roll has been determined, make a note on your army roster. This is another thing I've noticed a lot of people don't do, is actually keep an army roster. I think that this is something that should be done more. I like to keep an army roster, which is literally a list of everything in my army and all the stats that they have. It's simple. Just take a piece of A4 paper, write it down before you go. It's very easy. I cannot stand this normal practice now that people have of having units moving forward, especially monstrous infantry, with a dice next to them indicating how many wounds they've got. No, dice are rolled all over the place. How do you know which dice is which now? You got dice all over the table indicating who's got what wounds. Let's put a dice there on a 3. Oh, we can be knocked over and we can completely lose track of it. No! Stop doing this! Why are you putting dice everywhere? Like, leave the dice at the side of the table and roll them. That's what they're for. Have a piece of paper, and when you have so many wounds, right, have a pencil with a rubber on the end. And next to ogres, write 2 wounds. Easy! Then, when someone does, I've done 4 wounds to your ogres, you go, I have 2 wounds already here. Rub that out. I now no longer have 2 wounds. 6 in total. There we go. 2 ogres taken off, because 6 equals 2 ogres. So you've killed 2 ogres. Oh, and you know, Games Workshop sells this little board where you can move pegs that show how much combat resolution you've got. Get one! Or if you don't want to get one, have another piece of paper. Pencil. I have that many. You have that many. Done. So easy. You could just get a piece of paper and do tally marks. You know how tally marks work? 1, 2, 3, 4, and a line. That makes 5. Done. So easy. I charge. There's 1. You have a banner. You have 1. I also have a banner. I have 1. There. Done. So easy. So I'm going to, by the way, do this a lot when I'm in these videos. I'm just going to randomly go off and rant about things. But yes. So make a note of it on your army roster. actually have an army roster. That model now has that reward for the rest of the battle. This is a very good reason to have an army roster, not to have little pieces of paper following the bloody units around with +1 weapon skill on the side of it or whatever. Just have an army roster. That also means when you've got spells in play, you don't have to have little pieces of torn paper next to the units with the spell written on it. No, you have an army roster, you can just write this spell affecting the army. It's so easy. I even think if I might be mistaken, right, but I think Games Workshop actually sell pre-printed army roster sheets. There you go. But yeah, so what can you get on the Eye of the Gods table anyway? Well, you can get Damned by Chaos. The Chaos Champion must make a leadership test on their unmodified leadership, and if they pass it, they have the Stupidity special rule. If they get this a second time, or more times after that, their leadership drops by 1. If they fail it, though, they turn into a Chaos Spawn. They lose all of their special items, any magic items. They lose Marks of Chaos, I think. Yeah, it retains none of the equipment, upgrades, magic items, Marks of Chaos, mutations, or powers. These are all lost. If you do not have a spare Chaos Spawn model, or if it cannot be placed on the board according to the aforementioned restriction, no Chaos Spawn model is placed. The Chaos Champion is removed from play as a casualty. If the Chaos Champion is mounted, his mount is also removed from play, unless it is a chariot or ridden monster. Yeah. This means that if you become a spawn, they get the points for the character. And if you can't place a spawn, you simply lose the character outright. This is not a good thing. But yes, let's carry on. Let's hope that that doesn't happen. 3. Evil Eyeball. The Chaos Champion gains +1 ballistic skill. This is completely useless, because nothing in our army can shoot, except Marauder Horsemen, and they can only shoot by throwing javelins, and they're horsemen, so that's useless, usually. It's not a good idea to have things that can shoot. Because when you can only throwing axes or javelins, what's the point, really? Unholy Resilience. The champion gains +1 toughness. That's actually quite good, +1 toughness. So yeah, +1 toughness. That's pretty good. It's not the best one here, but it's worth having. Iron Skin. The Chaos Champion's armor save is improved by 1. That's actually largely useless. Most characters are going to have a really high armor save anyway, and it's entirely possible that with magical armor, we've got close to a maxed out armor save. You can't have anything better than, I think it's a 0+ armor save. So if you've got that more than once, chances are you've maxed out your armor save at this point. And if you're wondering what a 0+ armor save actually means, assuming that is still allowed in the rules, I believe it is. A 0+ armor save is reduced by strength, so if you hit it with a strength 5 hit, it would go down to a 2+ armor save. And as you automatically fail on ones, 2+ is the best you can get, which means you have to have a strength 6 or more to actually genuinely reduce the armor save. That's what that would mean. So, Iron Skin can be useful, but we've already got an awesome armor save, so we don't need that. Murderous Mutation. The Chaos Champion gains +1 weapon skill. Again, it's not too bad. I'd rather have the Unholy Resilience, have the +1 toughness. And number 7, the Eye Opens. The Chaos Champion can re-roll 1 failed to hit, 2 wound, or saving throw until the end of his next turn. It's okay. Thing is, people tend to keep hold of those kinds of I can re-roll a roll just in case. But it's not bad. 8. Unearthly Reflexes. The Chaos Champion gains +1 initiative. That's pretty good, actually. There are a lot of spells out there that hit on initiative, so having a higher initiative does help you there. Again, I would rather have the +1 toughness. Unholy resilience is the better of the options here. Again, it's a random roll, so yeah. Dark Fury on a 9. Chaos Champion gains +1 attack. That's awesome. That's great. We want that. +1 attack is definitely worth having. Number 10. The Chaos Champion gains +1 strength. Okay, we like that. +1 strength works. Probably not as useful as the others. Toughness and attack I still think are probably more useful, but +1 strength means you're lowering other people's armor and you're you're hitting better on strength versus toughness, so you're more likely to wound. So that's useful. But we've already got really high strength anyway, so probably looking at diminished returns there. Aura of Chaos. The Chaos Champion gains a 6+ ward save. If the Chaos Champion already has a ward save, it is improved by 1. This is probably one of the nastiest ones we can have, because it's entirely possible that we already have really high ward saves, especially on characters. The Aura of Chaos, that's if you get an 11, can effectively make you nigh unkillable. It has a maximum of 3+, but if combined with the Eye of Tzeentch, which is a special mutation, you can re-roll 1s on your ward save. That means you're only failing on a 2. Or if you roll 2 1s in a row, because you can't re-roll a re-roll. That's quite nasty. That means you only need to get a minimum of a 4+ ward, maximum of 4+ ward save. And then this could up it further. The thing is, of course, the so-called unkillable builds, which I'll discuss in another video, won't be able to gain much of a benefit from this. Because, well, we've now got a 3+ ward already, so if we roll this, we get nothing. So, for certain builds, this is effectively another useless roll. Dark Apotheosis. This is what we want to roll. The Dark Fury, nice. Unholy Resilience, pretty good. Sorcerer's Strength, okay. Dark Apotheosis, definitely want. The Chaos Champion must make a leadership test on their own unmodified leadership. This test cannot be re-rolled for any reason. If the test is failed, the Chaos Champion receives Divine Greatness. The Chaos Champion gains the Stubborn special rule. If the Chaos Champion already has the Stubborn special rule, he gains +1 leadership. This is fantastic, but we already have really good leadership. We have characters with a 10 and a 9 as standard. Even the low leadership is an 8. Our standard Chaos Warriors have an 8. So, yeah, we're likely to get pretty high in this. However, if we pass, and we're pretty likely to pass, Demonhood. If the Chaos Champion does not already have a Mark of Chaos, they immediately gain one, the owning player's choice, with the exception that a wizard can never have the Mark of Khorne. I almost said Mark of Cain then, Dark Elves on the mind. So yeah. Then if you have a spare Demon Prince model, you can place it anywhere within 6 inches of the Chaos Champion, and more than 1 inch from any unit or impassable terrain. This Demon Prince will retain any equipment, Chaos Mutation, and powers, magic items, or other rewards from this table gained during its former existence, if it had any. If the Chaos Champion was your army general or battle standard bearer, the Demon Prince remains so. If your Chaos Champion was a wizard, the Demon Prince retains his wizard levels and knows the same spells that he did as a Chaos Champion. If the Chaos Champion had the Mark of Khorne, Tzeentch, Nurgle, or Slaanesh, he will have the Demon of Khorne, Nurgle, Slaanesh, or Tzeentch upgrade respectively. If you do not have a spare Demon Prince model, or if it cannot be placed on the board according to the aforementioned restrictions, then no Demon Prince is placed. Finally, the Chaos Champion is removed from play as a casualty. If the Chaos Champion is mounted, his mount is also removed from play unless it's a chariot or ridden monster. New models created by these results do not have any awards or victory points. They do not grant any victory points. So yeah, you want to make sure you have a Demon Prince model. It would be really shitty if you rolled Dark Apotheosis and passed the test, killing your general, only to not get the Demon Prince afterwards. That would really suck. That would suck a whole lot of balls. So yeah, that's the Eye of the God special rule. It adds a very, very big element of randomness to the Warriors of Chaos. The Marks of Chaos, by the way. The Mark of Corn gives everything Frenzy. Mark of Tzeentch gives everything a 6+ ward save. And in addition, Wizards re-roll any channeling dice of a 1. That is a maximum of a 3+ though, so you can't give anything a 3+ ward and then give it Mark of Tzeentch to get a 2+ ward. So yeah. Mark of Nurgle gives everything a -1 penalty to hit you in close combat. Does specify close combat though. And Mark of Slaanesh makes it so that you automatically pass all fear, terror, and panic tests, which is largely underrated, I think. The Slaanesh mark is often the cheapest mark, and I think it's very underrated. I think it's actually one of the better marks for most situations. Also, they have a special piece of equipment, which is the Chaos Armor. Chaos Armor grants a 4+ armor save. It can be combined with other equipment as usual, and a wizard can wear Chaos Armor and still cast spells. So that's good. So, what do we think of the special rules? Well, the Eye of the Gods rule is a bit hit and miss. It forces you to challenge, and that can effectively mean you've got a really cool Blender Lord or whatever. Something with a really cool magic weapon. You charge into a unit you want to slaughter, and you're forced to challenge the unit champion. You've wasted your chance there. You could have 6, 7 attacks or whatever. Could have even more. I mean, let's have a little look now. I mean, you could have it's not the Ogre Blade. It's like the Sword of Strife or something that gives +3 attacks. I believe that's a 60-point weapon. Or you could have one of the magic weapons from this book, which I believe increases the number of attacks you can have. So let's have a little look. Okay. Well, Hellfire Sword. No. Okay, there are actually no weapons here that give you extra attacks, but there are in the main book. Yes, so, if you have extra attacks, you can also gain extra attacks from the Eye of the Gods table. You could have as many as, well, the 7 attacks there. And, oh, that's collect though, so it doesn't really count. Right, you could have as many as 8 attacks from just your weapons. You could have an additional hand weapon if you wanted to. So that could be 9 attacks. With Frenzy, you could easily have it up to 10 attacks on a standard Chaos Lord. Just starting out. That is entirely possible. 10 attacks. That's a lot of attacks. You could then charge in, be forced to declare a challenge. All 10 of those attacks are wasted, killing the unit champion. Imagine now you charge into, say, a unit of skeletons. Maybe you're forced to charge a unit of skeletons because of Frenzy. You then fight, you're forced to issue a challenge. The skeleton champion accepts the challenge. You kill him because he's a skeleton and he's worth about 8 points. Um, so, done, destroyed, he's dead. The rest of your unit smash your way through a load of skeletons, and you've wasted 9 attacks that you could have spent killing yet more skeletons, only to then find that they've then raised the dead on that unit. They raise more skeletons, and who's the first one to come back? The unit champion. So you then attack next round. You are forced to declare another challenge. Effectively, it keeps your Chaos Lord really, really stuck. That's why every unit that has a character, you also want a unit champion, so that you can at least declare a challenge with the champion and leave your Lord to do shit. You don't want to be stuck in that area where you're basically challenging the same unit champion over and over again. So yeah, that's something to think about. Other than that, the rewards are okay. They're not brilliant, but they're okay. Some of them can be deadly. Some of them really can push you over the edge to the point where you can really, really, reap the rewards. The best situation is to go back to the army list. I mean, you could become a demon prince with movement 8, weapon skill 9, ballistic skill 5. Doesn't matter. You have no ballistic. I don't know why they bother to give you a ballistic skill. You can't fire anything. Strength 6, toughness 5, wounds 4, initiative 8, attacks 5, leadership 9. That's a that's a very, very nice stat line. You also have demonic attacks, demonic invulnerability, terror, and unbreakable. I believe demonic invulnerability gives you a ward save. You could start out as an aspiring champion worth 24 points. An aspiring champion is a Chaos Warrior champion, just a standard Chaos Warrior champion. You could kill something in a challenge. It's very possible. You have 3 attacks at strength 4, weapon skill 5. It's very possible that you could go in, charge in, and kill a character in a challenge with that quite easily. You then roll a 12, pass your leadership test, and become a demon prince. Awesome. Very nice. You've just created a demon prince out of 24 points. And because it was a unit champion, they don't get any points for that unit champion. He dies, effectively. I mean, the unit champion is destroyed and becomes a demon prince. He's not actually dead. But if it happens to a hero or a lord, they count as being killed, which they really shouldn't. I don't like that they count as being killed, because they shouldn't. They didn't die. They're still there. They're now a demon. They've had a promotion. They had a promotion, and your enemy gains the points. Nah, I don't like it. I can kind of see it with the Spawn. They've died, they've become a spawn, they're effectively a shadow of their former self. But I still think if they are destroyed, they shouldn't gain the points unless they then kill the Demon Prince. That's how I feel it should go. That's why I think that it's a little underwhelming, because the best result could end up giving your opponent 300 points because you won on a roll. I don't like that. It effectively means as soon as you become a demon prince, if you were a hero or lord, you now have to go out and kill whatever value your lord was as a demon prince to justify that transformation. So it can be a bit of a problem, I think. Other than that, they're not brilliant special rules, but they're passable. Um, that's really all I've got to say. Uh, there are far better special rules out there, but there are others that have got far worse. Whereas the Chaos special rules, they're fit for purpose. And I'll be going over the core units in the next video. Then I'll go over special and then rare, and we'll see what we think. I may message a few people on YouTube. I know there's a couple of channels, but obviously I don't want to presume with this being a brand new channel. But I might message a few people, see if they want to join me and discuss things with me. And if so, great. Maybe that'll happen on future videos. If not, well, I will see you in the next video when we discuss Warriors of Chaos core units. Till then, bye.